oblongata is responsible for one of the most important functions to survive. If you damage it, there's a high chance you will die. Today we have discovered a person who has been living for 3 years with a slightly compressed medulla oblongata. Before we take a look at him in his natural habitat, it is important to understand what the medulla does. Essentially, it helps regulate involuntary things your body does. Notable examples include breathing, blinking, and the beating of the heart. Let's take a look. As you can see, this individual can remember to breathe and blink, but needs to spend mental energy to do so. Compared to an average person, it's easy to see how this condition can be very lethal and very annoying. Let's see how they feel about it. Oliver, who is a medulla oblongata trauma survivor. So tell me, Oliver, how did you get this injury in the first place?
Started when I was on the top of my house cleaning my gutters, and then I saw a spider. And I'm scared of spiders, so I fell. I didn't break any bones, but I realized that I suddenly was manually breathing, blinking manually too. I felt the clothes on my skin, and I felt my teeth didn't perfectly align in my mouth. So I told the doctor, and they said that I had a medulla oblongata injury, most likely.
So when you got the news, what was running through your mind?
When my doctor told me I had suffered brain damage, I manually gasped. It's not that bad though. It's just annoying to deal with. I have to constantly dedicate a portion of my brain to doing things that everyone else can just do automatically. So it's just a pain, and that makes me a little sad sometimes. Sorry for teleporting, by the way. I'll come back right now.
So now that we have a little background on your injury, I want to get into how it affects your everyday life and your relationships. Is how do you sleep constantly having to manually breathe?
That is a good question. The answer is that I don't. I just close my eyes every 20 seconds for 20-second intervals at a time, and that balances things out.
That must be very difficult.
Actually, it's very efficient. I don't have to sleep ever, so I get to be awake technically at all times of the day. But it's not that cool because after midnight at around 4 a.m. there's not a lot to do, so it gets kind of boring.
That's interesting. It's hard to believe that even with such a serious injury that you'll have for the rest of your life, you seem to stay so positive about things. It must be hard to be positive all the time, especially when it disables you from doing normal everyday things.
The reason I am able to stay so positive about my injury is that when you look it up on Google, you can't find any other cases of anybody that has ever survived with a damaged medulla oblongata. So if you think about it, I am essentially, my existence is a work of fiction, and that makes me laugh sometimes, so I'm not too concerned.
You're absolutely right. Well, thank you for your time and shedding some light on the seriousness of the medulla oblongata injury.
No problem. If you don't mind, I'm about 2 minutes late for my 20-second nap.
Well, there you have it. The mind and feelings of the one and only person who was fortunate enough to survive a medulla oblongata head injury.